Hey, hey, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Take Me Down a Rabbit Hole. We have made it to episode 33. So I thank you so much for tuning in. How are y'all doing out there? It's been a crazy week, but I hope that all is well with you. I think that the nation is up in arms, quite literally. And I found some things interesting. Um, As you know, I'm working on the latest installment of Freemasonry Part 3. And I'm going to take you through the Bloodline series, the 13 Illuminati bloodlines, the ones who rule the world, the ones who believe that they have a reign that was passed down to them from the pharaohs. And I think that we're going to start to see more and more of their plans come to fruition. He said, "Hola, bro, this is a whole circus act." It really is. And what's crazy is I was late. I was late on the game. Quite honestly, I was in a comment section. I couldn't tell you what the post was about, but I started seeing everybody was upset about people talking about the post. They kept saying, "We're at war, we're at war." I'm like, why are they saying that we're at war? And then come to find out, we've been doing some bombing. So I'll start off with that. How do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about that? I know we've kind of been saying that we're going to keep an eye um, on this Trump guy, because it could very well lead us into Antichrist territory. And I know the Bible tells us that there's going to be a big schism between Persia and the Medes. And I just think I don't even know if ironic is the term that I want to use right now, but Iran is Persia. Iran is Persia. And so I'm just kind of wondering what the correlation is, right? I'm not too I'm not abreast on Iran and what they've got going on. I was kind of reading up on their nuclear power plants. You said Trump, is he Jewish? Trump is Jewish, so him crashing out for Israel, who, mind you, worships Trump and has a whole song dedicated to him. They have a what dedicated to him and a coin too. I think it is inspired. Whoa, they have a song dedicated to him and a coin. I didn't know that. Now, here's the thing. I almost don't even have a problem if he's fighting for Israel in that way, because again, Israel is not it's so confusing, because what we know as Israel, like when we think about Israel, we think about the children of Israel and things like that, but you got to understand that there's this thing between Israel and Palestine, and so Palestine is not really Israel. It's just a weird thing. But I did not know that they were worshiping him in that way. But I can almost see why. Because Trump is almost as if he's standing against Zionism. Again, I don't know if it's just in front of our faces and then he's doing something else behind our backs. I don't know, but that's crazy. I did not know that. You said yes, since 2018, Israel has had a coin for him. I don't know why I find that funny. And says he's fighting for Israel like Cyrus did in the Bible. And again, I don't want to take credit away from him if that's what he's doing. But I'm just weary about the the one who's going to make an agreement, a 7-year agreement, and then renege on it halfway through. I just don't. And this is not the agreement. From my understanding, this is not it. But I'm just weary of things that look like that. We are the United States of Israel. We haven't had a president since JFK. The Jews killed him and his brother, and there is large amounts of evidence. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's so crazy is that they can't even keep their story straight about why JFK had to die. Sometimes it's, because he outed the secret societies. Other times I hear that he was opposed to the Federal Reserve. Other times I hear he was so maybe he had his hand in opposing a lot of this stuff. Not sure, but yeah, but you're right, because the United States is in bed with Britain, and they're in cahoots together for this land. Well, Israel said they only have the limited window for their new Messiah to appear, and applied Trump has a lot to do with the ushering. And you know what? They only have a limited time. See, I believe that. And that's actually why my first subject, and it actually probably ties in together. Have y'all noticed, and to be honest, I did not know that they were on season 3. Have y'all been watching The Gilded Age? I believe it's on HBO, if I'm not mistaken. But I thought it was rather interesting, and I'm actually going to read a little bit about The Gilded Age so that we can be abreast on what this particular period of time was. And I want to ask you if you think that we're almost mimicking what was going on then. So the Gilded Age was a period between 1870s and the late 1890s. Now, this was a time when materialism was in excess and a lot of political corruption was abounding. And quite honestly, a lot of these Illuminati bloodlines had a lot to do with it, because once again, behind the scenes, they were concocting different plans to bring about, certain results. Even to the point where a lot of their companies, they would mistreat the workers so much so. Okay, because after the Reconstruction, right, they were getting rid of slavery. So what happens when you get rid of slavery? You end up having a system where you really don't have a lot of workers. People are like, I'm not doing that. They're wanting to own their own businesses. They want to do all that kind of stuff. And so it got to the point where they were, I don't want to tell too much because I'm about to break it down to y'all in this next video, but I'll say a little bit of it. They got to the point where they were siphoning labor, cheap labor at that, from the prison systems. And it was at this point, because they were mistreating the workers that they were getting from the prison systems, that's why they had to create these labor unions. And so that someone could be in place to speak for the labor force, pretty much, okay? Because they had to work in mines, they were being mistreated, they were being beaten, they were being starved to death, right? They were being starved. And again, you've got these companies, man, I ain't gonna say it too much, but you have these companies who were actually plotting on the workers to the point where, man, like I said, they would starve them to death, they would kill them off, and then they would retain the tools and the resources, and then they would just go on, build the next business and get some more workers to do the same thing. It's just a crazy, crazy thing. So a lot of industries grew at that point. You had the railroad industry growing. Again, you had the oil industry, the mining industry. All this stuff was growing at the same time that they were still trying to stripped the rights from the free slave, or the free blacks, pretty much, because nobody else was enslaved. Um, and at the same yeah, and at the same time, um, you also had an intake of people into religious orders as well. So it's almost like this thing where, I don't know, kind of like they do with false flags, where they scare you so much into submission that you start running to religion, or you start running to other things, trying to get away from what they have going on. But what you don't know is that they have, where you feel like you're going to run to, they already have that set up as well. So when they receive you, you're going to get mistreated there as well. It's just this crazy, crazy thing that's going on. So again, industrial advances, technological advances were going on. And then, of course, more wars came from that. So yeah, I'm just wondering. They killed Kennedy after he demanded they registered their nuke program, and they killed the brother because he was close to proving Israel had a hand in the assassination. Yeah, I believe that. I remember watching, it was a documentary a very, very long time ago, but they were pretty much letting it be known that the story that we've been told about Kennedy's assassination wasn't the true story. And they were telling the people that were involved in it behind the scenes, like the Bush family. It was crazy. And I heard they had to kill Marilyn off as well. So I don't know. You said, dang, I see what you're saying already halfway through the story. I mean, I just feel like they are, number one, truth in plain sight. Because again, I didn't know that they were on season 3, but you have a show that's, yes, detailing history, but at the same time, it seems like it's at the point of time when history is repeating itself. So I lived near Fort Leavenworth Military Penitentiary. You could hire the inmates to do iron and metal work for pennies on the dollar. And remember, that used to be a big thing. I remember when I was younger, we knew that the inmates were the ones making the license plates. Like, we knew that they were the ones doing the little odds and ends jobs, and, they were getting pennies, pennies for it. We knew that. But again, you have to remember the whole prison industrial complex and how they partnered with the hip hop community to make music that would entice you and encourage you to commit crime, so that you then go into the prison system and then they use you for cheap labor. It's just a big cycle. So guess what? You've got this system in place right now where they've got you all up in arms. I mean, they got a race war going on. They have a religious war going on. They have workers fighting, people getting, laid off left or right. It's a big mess. I think, once again, it's just another tactic to get everybody riled up, and then they can just drive us into the places where they want us to go. Yeah. Kennedy said he knew the Israelis snuck materials out of the U.S. to build nukes, and they lied to him. He was close to making them register. Why is Israel's nukes so secret? Yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing. They weren't sneaking. They weren't sneaking. They know who these people are. They know what they're doing. They know all this stuff already. That's what's crazy about it. But no, I don't know why that would be so. You said in the elementary school and the elementary public schools mimic that of the prison system in a way. Yeah, they do. And I mean, even down to the freaking lunch that they try to serve these babies. You know, and there's a movie that I need to watch. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's called hold on, let me get to my watch list. Pretty much, I don't want to, hold on, y'all. It's called The Something Experiment. Pretty much what they did is they took a group of people and they took them into the prison system. And they divided half of them up. They asked the guys, it was a bunch of guys, do you want to be the warden or do you want to be the prisoner? And it pretty much showed how they can turn pretty much good people bad. How they can turn good people bad. And so, yeah, I think so. I mean, the public school system, they're teaching you how to think, not even how to think. They're teaching you what to think. They don't teach you how to think. Once again, they've got you in their long hours at a time. I don't even know if they do recess and stuff like that anymore. Hours out of the day. I think they even said something about the light that they use in the school systems makes kids a little delirious and woozy. It's just weird. And it pretty much changes how the kids think and act. We are simply cattle to them. And yeah, we are simply cattle to them. That's all that we are, unfortunately. And they've been in power so much, so long. For everyone that believed Trump was different, I want to say, welcome to the con game. And I don't want to, people don't know. I'll just say that people do not know. All we know is what we're taught in school. And you come out of school and you kind of just, you're kind of just like a robot. You know, you go to the voting booth, you just do what they taught you to do. But again, most people, I mean, depending on your major, you don't take law classes and government classes. And that was one thing that I felt was so extremely necessary. I was like, everybody needs to take a law class. Because that's how people get caught up in the system. That's how people just go along with the system that's already created, and they don't challenge anything because they do not know the laws themselves. And again, I'm not downing anybody because they give you a curriculum for the major that you choose and you go on that path. It's not your fault. And I think most of it's on purpose. They don't want you to know this stuff either. Matter of fact, I want to share a channel with you guys for those who, want to know their rights, civil rights and things like that. There's this guy has a channel called The Civil Rights Lawyer, and he pretty much just breaks down different police interactions, kind of like the audit. I don't know if you guys watch that type of stuff, but just really, really pertinent information for us all to know and be able to stand up for our rights when the time comes. Kennedy was assassinated for that knowledge. Yeah, they wanted him gone bad. It just seems like so many things. He was just, one of those men that knew too much. Absolutely. Show you who's in charge. Yeah, they're going to be an example for sure. For sure. The lunches in colleges is literally the same company that fed prisons. I saw this firsthand, and that's crazy. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Thankfully, yeah, I feel sorry for these children that are in school. My college lunch was a buffet, and I'm not lying. We had food galore. We ate good, and I could say that I ate good in high school as well. We didn't have the slop that they're putting on these trays. Mm-mm. But the experiment movie did that. I hated Forrest Whitaker for like 5 years because of his role in that movie. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna check it out because um, I just know it's some good information in there. And once again, I just think that it's mimicking how they do us out here in the real world. We might not see it, but they're definitely they know how to change the psyche in people. Unfortunately, they know how to make you go crazy in your mind, to make you act out of character, do things that you normally would not do. They know how to do that. It's all about lulling you into a specific mind pattern and frequency. Exactly. Exactly. Um, I saw another thing which is so crazy to me. Apparently, there's a handful, and I guess the hand is getting bigger, of pastors saying that they don't even believe in the story of Adam and Eve. And I said, how in the world do we get to a point where they have persuaded even the pastors, even the ones that are supposed to believe in the Bible, that the Bible isn't true? And they still have the nerve to be standing in the pulpit trying to teach somebody. But yeah, you're right. You can just look at the people that go on these college campuses and they're debating with the students. They're literally using the same arguments over and over and over again like a parrot. And they don't even notice it. They don't even notice it. Then the groups went and took prayer out. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that there was one state in the South. I can't remember what state it is right now, but they opted to put the Ten Commandments back in the schools. I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I think that it should be there? Yes, I do. I think that it's definitely something we should adhere to. At the same time, I think that you have to really believe in it. Because if you don't, and you're just saying it and you're just going through the motions, then spiritual wickedness can just run up in that school and take them out like they, do at the other schools. And then what's going to happen? People are going to be like, oh, well, God ain't real because look what happened. They were still able to come in here and kill it's going to be that type of sentiment if something happens at those schools where the Ten Commandments are. So I just have mixed emotions about that. But you're right. Because to be honest, I don't remember any school shootings growing up. And I know there were some, but it wasn't like what we got going on. Kids weren't getting stabbed up in schools. People were fighting. Oh, it was some fights, but you live to see another day. Yes, some billionaire cares about the peons, and some of them do. Some of them do. I've noticed that. I'm noticing that as well. Um, Even in some of these bloodlines, because guess what? Kennedy is also one of the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. And so is Onassis, JF Kennedy's wife. So there were black sheep in these groups, but of course, look what happens when you go against the grain. They don't care about taking out their own as long as it benefits the cause. It's a pony show. The government has gotten so big. Freedom has died. The founding fathers would despise the nation today. Uh, oh, I feel like that's a mouthful as well, because at the same time, okay, I can agree that freedom was on the list for the founding fathers, but I also know that they were Freemasons. And so their idea of freedom and our idea of freedom is not the same. Because they're going to do whatever they have to do to make sure that their corporations and their families and all that stuff is straight while standing on our backs. But I mean, there were certain things that they adhered to, right? Bear arms and all that stuff. That still was all them. So I don't want to take too much away from them. I know, Cam the King, I know you do. You said, I'm hoping we're at the end of days. I mean, we certainly are, but it just depends on how close. Yeah, it just depends on how close. How current events are coming together seems like I've read it, some heavily populated and printed book going back thousands of years. Right. Somebody prophesied this a long time ago. Yep. So yeah, so we're just observing the signs of the times. Let's see where we are. The kids in the school today all have genital herpes? That's not good. I mean, what can you say? They said that the STD rates in these cities are climbing so fast and so high. I'm not surprised, but we're in an era where man, everybody just with everybody. They're just all, matter of fact, they're with the same people. They're just all sleeping around with the same people, getting it in. And then did you see that they're actually trying to sue? The LGBT community is trying to sue because they're trying to suppress the PrEP drug. PrEP is that drug that the gays are using in order to not contract HIV, supposedly. Like, they really have these people thinking that if they just pop a pill every day, then they can just, excuse my language, have butt sex, and it's gonna, and that little pill is going to save them from every consequence that the Lord said would be there if we committed abominations. It's crazy. Oh, that's where it was. It was over in Africa, of all places. They are trying to sue because they want this pill so bad. But that's sad. That really is sad. Because you end up ruining your life before you even get it started. Now, some people are going to accept it and some people aren't. And you just got to know that. You could leave your car parked with your rifle or shotgun in your car where I went to school. I just think about even walking on the college campus. Sometimes I would get out of dance practice around 9:00 or so at night. So we would have to walk to our dorms. It'd be dark. Never had any problems. Never felt any threat. Nothing like that. Again, walking around neighborhoods, walking back and forth to the gas station stuff. We never worried about getting snatched up or taken advantage of or nothing. So it's just trying times. That's the issue with the Protestantism. I don't know why I said it like that. Please forgive me. It allows people to have a manufactured position where they position themselves as the pope of their prospective church. Church tradition rules out this variability. You think that Protestantism does that? Because there's not even a pope in Protestant. I don't know. I don't know why I can't say that too many times. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I guess I need a little bit more clarification with that. And I believe that the same people who are corrupting the society are systematically aiming to corrupt the church as well. Oh, for sure. Um, Matter of fact, if you really take a look into these secret societies, I can't think of not one that doesn't have a position where they're trying to undermine Christendom. Not one of them. So I think that's why we're seeing the big influx of all these pastors that are crossing the burning sands and pledging all of a sudden. We're seeing all that stuff happen. Again, we have pastors that are outright denying passages in the Bible. There's so many churches where the pastor is leaving and denouncing Christianity. But the thing about it is they go online to tell their reasons why. And so they get mad at Christians because they say that we evangelize and we proselytize, but they do the same thing. They push their atheism, they push their Satanism, they do all that. And they act like they don't. There are 558 churches in Washington, D.C. Really? And I can confidently say that a significant amount of them are falling victim to the same assault. That's crazy. Washington, D.C. is not that doggone big to have almost 600 churches there. But I believe it. I believe it. I think that's why a lot of people are having a hard time finding a church home, because a lot of these churches are bought and paid for. 501c3. I'm seeing the rise of just, man, I saw this lady, and don't get me wrong, she had a nice body. She was an older lady, but her dress was so skin tight, and she was in there preaching to some children. And of course, there were some elders and stuff in there as well. But I'm like, see, you got the Jezebels in the pulpit, looking like whores, unfortunately, in front of these kids. It's just a lot. It's just a lot going on. And yeah, the church is going to be one of the first to go down. We used to go straight from high school to plinking in the nearby hills. Exactly. Like we used to play flashlight tag. It didn't start till 10:30 at night. So, but would I do that these days? Probably not. Would I let my niece and my nephew? No, probably not. All Masons. Yeah, a lot of them are. Also, they already found the cure to death, just went down a giant rabbit hole. Did they really? Is that what they're saying? What did they say was the cure? I'm anxious. Like, these people can't even define death, let alone having found the cure. They can't even define what it is. Getting more engaging curriculum that prepares them for a real life outside of the workforce if they want to pursue entrepreneurial interests. Yeah, knowing what I know now, the whole school curriculum needs to be revised. There's a lot of stuff that they could teach the students that would help them in the real world, and none of that is being taught. Like the other day, I was talking to y'all about the geological column. I remember that stuff from school, but in no way, shape, or form have I had to use that in my real life. Not only particular majors and studies will have to know that information. But again, the fact that they're not teaching kids how to read and write and do math and stuff is distressing. Even the redhead step kid praised Jabulon. Yeah. You said, I don't know about the herpes part. I don't know either. I hadn't heard that, but that's sad. Um, that's sad. Having to put chapstick on your genitals for life sounds rough, man. Yeah. I don't know. Well, if you're having gay sex and you think there's nothing wrong with it, you'll pretty much believe anything. Yeah, that too. And that's the thing, that they're getting a lot of the Rainbow Coalition. They're getting a lot of those caught up because they refuse to ground themselves in any type of knowledge. It's really just about feelings. It's really about feelings. I just can't even understand it. I can't even understand it. How about just not have gay sex? I mean, you preaching to the choir. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But there's a spirit attacking people. Because I'm just not convinced that many people, you know what I mean? That many people, as as much as we're seeing these days, I just don't get it. Like the prima materia, the micro reflects the macro. So all who aren't under the protection of God within marriage is literally having sex and by covenant with each other. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And the crazy thing is that one of the scriptures says that when you go outside of God's hedges, then you get bit by serpents. I paraphrase that, but that's what it says. And so that just goes back to, who are the serpents? Who are the serpents? Who are the ones that believe that they are descendants from serpents? The 13 Illuminati bloodlines. The ones that have put this whole system in place. And so when we do not listen to God and we think we know better, we go outside that hedge of protection. Who's out to get us? It's them. And their system, they've been working it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So everyone having sex with everyone are literally the same body, the whore of Babylon, the dark abyss, the darkness of their father, Satan. I mean, that seems to be what's going on. That seems to be what's going on. I mean, look at Hollywood. Everybody, that's another thing they're like, you're trying to mimic Hollywood. You see the Hollywood celebrities doing it. They jump from one marriage to the next marriage to the next one, and you trying to do it too. And look at you. Oh no. It's more politics at which Protestantism is governed by. You said, yeah, because the pastor of the Protestant church takes the position of being the true arbiter of scripture, and so instead of relying on what centuries of Christian tradition have reinforced, they come up with their own doctrine. I hear that. I also think that the big dilemma is, what is Christian tradition? Because because at some point, scripture says that we need to be adhering to doctrine and not to tradition. But then you have churches like the Catholic Church that are really, they're like, F doctrine, we're all about tradition. So I don't know. I think a lot of churches just led away from the initial structure of the church. And the church, the thing is, the church is not even supposed to be a building. The church is supposed to be the body of believers. And that's where we've gotten this thing all wrong. It's supposed to be the body of believers who are supposed to be having one mind, and that one mind being in Christ. But yet we are now believing, and I'm going to say we, but they've made it seem like the church is the church building. And so they've got, like you said, they got, what'd you say, 553 churches? See, it's all about the churches and not about the doctrine. You said the one pastor, William Murphy, who got initiated into a frat at 50 years old, said he needs protection, a community, and a brotherhood. Sir, that's what the church is for. Why would he needs protection from whom? He needs protection from whom? Because we're not supposed to be fighting against flesh and blood. We're fighting spiritual wickedness. So you needed the brotherhood to give you protection. I'm sorry, that's just crazy. And he must mean he's trying to protect certain interests, because that's all that a frat is going to do, is protect a particular interest or a particular agenda. But you can't really be down with a frat and a sorority and go against what they got going on. They will ostracize you. Matter of fact, see, these are new Masons these days, because back in the day, you let the secrets come out of your mouth and they would slice you ear to ear, cut your whole throat. So it's just crazy that they don't even, man, these people make me sick. I'm sorry, they just make me sick. Because you have a lot of people in these churches looking up to you. So if the pastor is crossing and getting into a frat, then why not you? See, when churches take government money, they stray from good doctrine. Exactly. 501c3. If you don't adhere to the rules, you do not get a tax break. You don't get the government benefits as a church if you don't sign on to the 501c3. Exactly. And that's my point when it comes to secularism. Secularism really just makes way for another religion. They just try to pretend that atheism or agnosticism is not a real religion. Oh, I know. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Because they say, well, because I don't believe in God, I'm with atheism, supposed to be without a God. But again, if you look at the definition of religion, it's all of your thoughts and your feelings, your actions, all that surrounds you believing in God. And so if you are so-called atheist, then you're walking around as though God doesn't exist. And that's still a thought and a behavior. So yeah, I don't know why they try to go that route, to be honest. You said when in reality it's Satanism. Well, at least Satanists know that they have a religion. Matter of fact, they even got it registered with the government. So, but yeah, it is. But yeah, it does. And that's what I was thinking. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, what would be the reason why a pastor, would announce that he doesn't believe in the story of Adam and Eve? If if it's not to deconstruct what we're supposed to know about how we were created and then give us something else to believe in. Because again, it all just goes back to we're not humans, we're not valuable, we're not made in God's image. We can kill, we can steal, we can do it. Just all goes back to that. It all goes back to do as thou wilt. When you believe that you have no value, you weren't put here for a purpose, you know, it's just I've had the pleasure of dying. Oh, okay. I was pronounced dead for 14 minutes, resuscitated, then dead for 6 minutes, and resuscitated again. Goodness gracious. It might be a weird question, but y'all know I ask questions. What was it like? Would you say that you just felt like you were sleeping? No, I'm saying they found the church is when they are able to stabilize dark matter, then get from CERN, they already are able to reprogram out DNA if they're able to stabilize dark matter. I mean, yeah, I feel like they've already been doing that, reprogramming. I can't even talk today. Reprogramming out DNA. Yeah, I think they're already doing that. They can reverse engineer the imperfections caused by sin and death within our bodies. Is that what they're claiming? That's crazy. Here's the thing. At some points they act like, oh, sin is not real, right? But in the next breath, they actually admit that they know it's real. I don't know. There's a certain class of people with more homosexuals today than in the past. Wonder what made the numbers grow. Fatherlessness. I don't know. It's hard to get into the mind of a homosexual, but I guess I'm just wondering, why would fatherlessness cause you to go that way? Like, you're so that much in need of a male attention that you want to take it into yourself. I just don't understand it. And I'm not trying to, I'm just, these are just my thoughts. And I see that the numbers are growing on the lesbian side as well. But what I'm hearing from their mouths is pretty much they just don't want to cooperate with men. They have no they have no desire to cooperate with men, so they're going to women. And then they're realizing, oh, I don't like women. It's just so stupid. Most people can't even recite the 50 states in their respective capitals. Oh no, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But again, is this stuff even being taught in schools anymore? Let alone get into the actual course of U.S. history, right? They say, I get it from my mama. So if you have no daddy, you probably take after mama and gay. What? They say, I get it from my mama. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I mean, I definitely see that. When they're always hanging around the females all the time and they take on their mannerisms and stuff like that. I guess I'm wondering, okay, because let's just say, for instance, you did have that mindset, right? When if somebody were to tell me, okay, this is what you're going to have to do in this lifestyle, I don't know. I feel like I would change my mind real quick. But again, I'm not trying to get into the mind of a homosexual. He said, and look at you. No, for real. A middle-aged woman was talking to her daughter in Walgreens the other day. I heard her tell the kid it's empowering to explore your sexuality. Right then, I knew the mama was a whore and the poor kid will be. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. It's just sad because people, they, okay, yeah, the physical, but there's spiritual implications as well. Just like there are spiritual implications with sleeping around with a lot of people. The Catholic Church tampered with Protestant doctrine, so either way, you go back under the Pope under the illusion of choice. Yeah, and that was another thing that that I saw as far as the Gilded Age is concerned. They said the Catholic Church grew with the Gilded Age because, like you said, it's the illusion of choice. People think, oh, well, it doesn't really matter just as long as I call myself a Christian. Okay. Keep on thinking that. I think he meant like he just wants to feel protected, but I don't know what he really means because either way it's unbiblical. Yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Unless again, you're trying to get to a certain status and you want to make sure that you have people around you that are going to help you get there. You want that type of help. You want those type of people because you can get anybody to rally around you and boost you up and get you to where you need to go, but you want that type of help. You want ones that can pull strings in certain rooms. You want to be able to mingle and shake hands with certain people. You want to be able to have that cutthroat mentality that they have. Yeah, like you said, unbiblical. There's a ritual done to Masons who tell the tea where they are bound before high tide to drown. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These people, this is some soft type of masonry that some of these people are practicing, while the big elites are still, doing things like that, taking people out in that kind of way. Who tell the secrets? These new ones think it's all just strutting and stepping and wearing your paraphernalia. That's what they think it is. That's what they think it is. One thing that really just burned my gears when I was in that lifestyle was the fact that if someone of the organization were to come up and ask me a question, and typically it would be about the organization, it would be about, name the founders or this and that. And if you didn't have the answer, they can take the clothes right off your back. Talking about a sisterhood, you could take the clothes off my back because I can't name the founders. I think everyone knows deep down there's a creator. Selfish people reject him to live a life of self. Yeah. And speaking of that, which is what, man, have y'all been following this whole brain death thing? It really came out big with the young lady who just recently, I don't know if she's passed or not. I don't know if her family has taken her off life support, but she was on life support, supposedly brain dead, but then they kept her on the life support in order for her pregnancy to be viable so that she could give birth to the child. And I know this is a touchy subject, but I'm really not even here. I'm not even talking about the abortion part of it and all that kind of stuff. There is not a consensus on what brain death is. And there's actually a doctor out. He's talking real heavy on it. His name is Dr. Paul Brine. And Dr. Paul Brine has actually had patients who whether they were diagnosed with being brain dead for 5 years or 7 or whatever, they have actually woken up and been able to live full lives. One case in particular, the guy, I don't know if he was in a coma or what exactly, but they had claimed that he was in a state of brain death. This man said that he could hear everything the doctors were saying about him. They were talking about harvesting his organs, how they're going to take him off life support so they can get his kidneys and this and that. And the whole time he said he was trying to scream. He was trying to say something, but he couldn't. He couldn't say anything because of the state that he was in. But he said that was just so disparaging hearing them talk about him in such a way. And they would not fight for him. His dad ended up I think his dad ended up being, his dad was a nurse. And he ends up fighting for the son and pretty much keeping the doctors off of him. The guy ends up recovering, like I said, and he goes on to live a full life. But the Dr. Brine, is speculating that they are diagnosing people with brain death, even though they're not dead, just so they can harvest their organs. And he makes a very, very profound statement. He says, you can't be on life support. You can't be on a ventilator on life support if you're not alive. And it sounds so simple, but for some strange reason, so many people are going with the notion. And the doctor, he said, the one thing that these people need, he said, well, the one thing that he's seen in the people that rebounded is that they had people around them that loved them. He said that was the only difference. So I said all that to say this again, this is what happens when you're not grounded in truth. Someone can literally tell you that you're not dead. I mean, that you're dead when you're literally breathing. You might need help to breathe, but being a living soul means you're breathing. If you're breathing, you're a living soul. And so do not let them tell you, if you got a family members that are in that type of situation, do not let them tell you that your family member is gone. What he found out is that sometimes the body just needs a little bit more time to heal. And this is another thing. The brain and the mind are two different things. The mind is the breath. That's us breathing. The brain is the physical organ. Okay, so yeah, your physical organ might not be working to where you're firing synapses and all that kind of stuff. And when you think one thing, you're able to move your hand. Yeah, but if you're still breathing, you're still alive. And so something is really fishy going on in the medical community. That they're taking people's loved ones just so they can harvest their organs. Because you're really stupid if you think rocks going to bang together makes a universe. That too. They really have people thinking that we don't need a mind for all this. Like, it's just crazy. Like, this is crazy. The unbelief of God from a metaphysical standpoint puts atheism, agnostic, Hindu, Buddhism, Catholics, and Muslims, under the same religion of rejection of the microcosm, of God via Christ. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and even though because there are some religions that actually do believe, they'll call it the Great Spirit, or they'll believe in an everlasting spirit. There's a lot of religions out there that actually have an idea a really good idea of who God is. They just got to take the extra step. But yeah, those type of Hinduism, Buddha, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's just, once again, they don't have any answers. You can be mad at that if you want to. They have no answers. Go read their doctrines. I never saw a light at the end of the tunnel, but I did feel extremely at peace, kind of in a dream state, but aware something terrible had happened and I wasn't in Kansas anymore. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's amazing in a crazy way. No, they're claiming that that's the conclusion from the Rabbithole. Oh, okay. I'll definitely, I want to look into that because I want to see. Yeah, I want to see this supposed cure that they have. I definitely want to see that. I feel like it's going to be on some alchemy, philosopher's stone type of deal. I was also able to recall things to doctors and staff I shouldn't have been privy to. It freaked them out. Exactly. People are hearing things in their, in these states. Oh, I couldn't imagine. Especially the guy that said that he heard them trying to go after his organs and he couldn't scream. Oh man, that's terrible. Homosexuality is the dysfunction of the image of God. Gay men who take it in the butt is a rejection of their own image. Gay men who give it worship their own image. Yeah, pretty much. I still think it's gay to be gay. Y'all are so silly. The Catholic Church is more satanic than Satan. They're definitely getting it from somewhere. I heard a guy make a really good argument the other day for the Pope being the Antichrist. And I could see where he was coming from, just pretty much because they're trying to stand in the place of God. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that easy. I don't know if the Antichrist is going to be that easy to where, the Pope we've been looking at him this whole time. There's many cases of people coming back years later from stuff like comas. Exactly. Like, I'm sorry. You should look up the profit of a hospital makes per organ. Yeah, let me look it up. I'll look it up right now. That's so sad. Yeah, I got to take my name off the donor list. That's what I know. No, they aren't claiming that. That's my conclusion. So, sorry for the typos, but yes, part of it is alchemy. So the Pope would be the false prophet whom ushers in the Antichrist. Yeah, that's definitely like a good position for him. I think it's 15,000 for one kidney. Are you serious? And do you think that they're eating these organs, or do you think that they're putting them into other bodies? Like they're keeping them? Because I heard a while ago that these organs are also for the elite. So when their kidneys go down, they always have a backup. If the lung gets punctured, then they could already have something to go to. They already have one ready for them. That's just sick. And that's just sick. I'm seeing hospitals. Hold on. Hospitals and doctors are reimbursed an average of 80,000 to 100,000 by private insurers, says transplant specialist Dr. Thomas Diflo. My goodness. What? Usually they like to eat the victims when they are alive and intact. Yeah, because they have to get the adrenochrome. So they can't, they're not eating dead bodies. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. I actually know a guy who almost died because he spent the night with a girl and had his kidney stolen. He lost so much blood he passed out and woke up hours later and called an ambulance. He what in the actual heck? He must have been knocked out. He must have been knocked out. Because how do you not? Mm-mm. I'm not trying to make fun because I know that there are people that are hard sleepers, but goodness. There's huge money in organs. My sister was a mortician for years and an ICU nurse, and she claimed that they would take organs from people who weren't organ. Oh no, no, no! From people who weren't organ. I can't say it. Organ donors without family knowing. Are you serious? That's scary. I know I saw the news clip the other day. This black family was fighting. Um, of course, they were waiting for the son to recover, but the hospital wanted his organs. Oh my goodness. She was Colombian and probably drugged him with stuff so hard Bill Cosby would blush. My goodness. Mm-mm. See, that's also the danger of getting with random people. You never know who these people are in real life. Trying to set you up. That's why I said it. A man does stupid how you let someone swiping your organs. Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I mean, but it's obviously big business because it's it's more prevalent than not. That's creepy stories of people getting people's organs and then having weird experiences or cravings. You know what? I literally just got done watching a movie. It is called, hold on, go back to my list. Did I take it off my list already? Because I'm not going to remember exactly what it's called, but it was about that very same thing. It was about that very same thing. Dang, I took it off my watch list already because I just got done watching it. But pretty much the guy had gotten an organ transplant and then come to find out every memory, the whoever he got the organ from had been murdered. And so he was seeing all of her dreams and visions and different things like that. Everything she experienced, he was experiencing. And yeah, he was going and talking to this group about it. And they were all having the same issues. They had been getting organs from donors and pretty much acting exactly like the donor. That is crazy. You think that stuff really happens? Why? Because in my mind, your spirit, you know, everybody has their own spirit. So, you know, you have your own desires and stuff like that. But to think that you're getting someone else's organs and then getting their experiences, that is creepy. That's so crazy that I just watched that. um, I'm assuming she was Colombian. That's Cam's story. Right. No. She finally got my boy to quit drinking. I see. It's a blessing. Yeah, he can't overwork that only kidney left. Yeah, not even a margarita now. Dang, that's messed up. And you got to be some type of, I mean, to know what you're doing to get somebody's organ out. That's crazy. Hillary don't need organs, but she eats them for fun. Yes, she does. Ugh. And that's the thing, you just don't know because most of the elites they're into cannibalism and all that stuff. So you don't know what they're using that stuff for. They could be, sitting down at dinner every night having, you know, the Billy family's heart. So they just passing it around. It's gross. Yeah, that is evil. It absolutely is evil. Um, but it's not. It shouldn't be surprising. It shouldn't be surprising because what were all these religions practicing? Child sacrifice, human sacrifice. They were doing all this stuff. So it's nothing new. They're just doing the same thing they've been doing. It's just now that we know about it, and it could be your neighbor, into the stuff. You just never know. To go on a fake date and the whole time thinking his organs got to be worth something. Yeah, people just plotting on you. He got mad when I said a man has two testicles. Are you going to call her for a second date? Oh no. Yeah, that's not nice. That's not nice. So what did he? I mean, I guess he couldn't do nothing about that. Has he ever seen the girl again? Mm, I know, right? Way too far. Way too far. I don't know, y'all. You just gotta be careful out there because Hippocratic oath is no longer in play. The Hippocratic oath was where the medical professionals agreed to do no harm and to save lives, and that is not the case anymore. That is not the case. Not argue down over a baby not being a person. Like, what in the world? They never caught the person. This was before all this tech now. Oh my goodness. I just don't know what to say about that. It just seems like you can't go out drinking and can't go out drinking and partying with everybody for sure. Mm. But what's crazy is that if you research like organ donation, they're gonna say that it's a lie. They always make sure that they put the opposing articles at the very top. You got to go through different pages to get to the real answers. This one article says that even ovaries can go from for $10,000 to $50,000. What in the hell? I'm sorry, but what do you need an ovary for? They are connected to other things. What do you need an ovary just by itself for? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Because of his story, when I stay in motels, I duct tape my arms to my side so they have to wake me cutting my arms before they get my money maker organs. Heck no. Heck no. I need every limb loose so I can fight. Mm-mm. And I think shoot, a lot of these motels are probably in on it. So you gotta like double barricade your hotels and all that, hotel doors. Speaking of organ harvesting, I don't know. Did y'all see that Kanika Jenkins, one of her friends just got found dead? I think they had to pull her out of the water or some crazy. And I was like, "Uh-oh, are they offing the witnesses now? Now that they feel like everything has died down?" No, she ended up falling off a boat or something stupid. Yeah, she fell off a yacht. into Lake Michigan, and she died. This was literally yesterday. I mean, I guess it could just be all just a crazy accident. It's just, mm-mm. I just don't like to hear people that are surrounded with weird stories and they start dying too. It's like, nah, sounds a little fishy. They think they can renovate the house without touching nothing. I mean, I listen. I don't know. And there used to be a company on Instagram that advertised buying testicles for 20K. It's probably been 10 years since I had IG though. Oh my goodness. And again, I would ask them, are people asking, what do you need my testicle for? What do you need my ovary for? I would be so curious. I like they're trying to build a Frankenstein somewhere, you know? They got arms from this person, they got the brain from this person, they got the testicles from this person, just weird stuff. He said, wow, I forgot about that story. I know we've talked about it not too long ago, but it came across my timeline. I was like, that's just really, especially in the wake of organ harvesting and them saying that all her stuff was gone. Um, hmm, I don't know. He said that's a big lake. Yeah, I guess. I wonder how they made it work if you were in a different state by mail. How many stamps does one have to put on the envelope when mailing testicles? It, I don't know why I just had a picture of somebody sitting at home boxing up their testicles and shipping them out. Like, what are we really talking about here? What what's really going on? Your vampire video was solid because if life is in the blood and blood is in the physical manifestation of the essence of your soul, you're leaking your spiritual breath of life that God gave you. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I realized that the vampire story gets a little bit deeper. Um, but that's coming as well. But no, it makes perfect sense. So this is what's crazy. I get a lot of understanding from looking at these ancient religions and what they practiced and why they practiced it and the gods that they so-called worshiped and what those gods required of them. And then that stuff just starts making so much more sense from a biblical perspective. I mean, I understand the Bible. It makes perfect sense to me, but I don't say perfect. There's some, but anyway, but when I look at these other religions, I'm like, you know what? I see why you're doing what you're doing based off what you believe. Um, yeah, you're right. Because I would never have thought about tattooing and all that stuff being anywhere. I didn't think there was anywhere near bloodletting, but it does make sense that if you have something printed on your body, especially if it's of religious significance or a, um, a symbol of sword, that would have some type of power to it. And I think I told y'all that on a few lives. It's been several lives ago, but I was like, no, I think you actually take on the persona of the tattoos and stuff that you have. I mean, maybe it's something that you already had in you, and that's why you got that particular tattoo. But Mm. But yeah, no, it don't make sense. And that's what these people think they're doing, especially when they are into vampirism. They feel like they're taking the life force from their victim. And then they get that power, they get that youth. One of my very first books that I read was the Countess of Bathory. I told you I used to be into some weird, I guess I still am into weird stuff, but Countess of Bathory was royalty, but she was known for killing her maids and then bathing in their blood. And that was the very first, yeah, that was one of the first books that I really read when I was into ghost stories and stuff like that. I was like, man. And then come to find out, that's a true story. And then when I saw Kim K with that blood on her face, talking about she was doing a blood facial, or she called it a vampire facial. Doing a vampire facial, I was like, oh, people really do this stuff. He said both of y'all are out of pocket like a pistol in a robbery. For the testicle conversation. I know. That, but could you imagine? But this is what they have people doing. This is there was some weirdos in my college history class that spoke about eating what and drinking blood. I hope you stayed far, far away from them. Yeah, I would never put myself anywhere near them. Eating and drinking blood. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. People are weird. Yeah, like child sacrifice being the purest form of life, at which was pure essence closest to God, which makes the sacrifice more stronger. It's more food for demons to eat, like vampires. Yeah. I mean, I've read that in their literature as well. They also say, well, they claim that these kids are not all shot with vaccines and all that kind of stuff. Now, they are not talking about American kids, obviously, but yeah, that was one of the reasons why they went after children. Mm-mm. The power to it is the logos of the darkness. It's literally the transgression of God's word. It's being able to manipulate the matter creation of God. Hence, antimatter is unstable without the logos. Yeah. Which is why they're trying to take it away. And we've talked about that as well. This is the reason why they're trying to pervert language. They're trying to pervert words. Oh, that's not really what that means. Or they'll tell you that I saw the other day, I think I was watching a debate. It might have been on the whatever podcast, I'm not sure. But anyways, they were like, yeah, definitions are subjective. I was like, dang, are definitions subjective? I thought they were objective. Well, let me say this. They should be objective. It shouldn't be something that changes from person to person to person. How are we ever to understand anything? Just like if they change the meaning of words. So, but I want to say that they say this is one of the reasons why the English language was created. It's a type of a witch language. So they can really use double speak, where it sounds like they're saying one thing, but they're really talking about something totally different. He said, yep, this is why the word of God was attacked throughout the history of humanity and why Jesus is simultaneously rejected throughout history also. It's physical and spiritual rejection, hence why he came. Yeah. I mean, but what's also interesting is that even the religions that claim not to worship him or believe him, they still know they still reference him. I'll say that. Even if they don't believe that he was an actual person that walked this earth, they still reference him. Even with the whole Christ consciousness and all that nonsense. But most just chunk him up to being a good teacher or a good prophet. Um, but yeah. Uh I'll just say this. They are attacking the weakest of us. That's all I know. That's all I know. And the younger generation, I'm seeing them fall away a lot faster because they were never grounded in anything anyways. Um yeah, but they reference his position, not the spirit at which he came. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And but they do that in order to say that they can get to his position. Because they preach that everybody can have Christ consciousness. Matter of fact, I think they believe that it is going to be ushered in. Um, like there's going to be this great. Ooh, I'm glad I said that. One of the other aspects of the Gilded Age was the third Great Awakening. So they have, I think there's like 5 or 6 Great Awakenings, but the Gilded Age was one of the Great Awakenings. And I think we're seeing that as well. Except for it's not going to be an awakening towards God. It's going to be an awakening towards the Antichrist. He said exactly. We on the same wavelength. Yeah. Oh, there's 4. Okay, so the Gilded Age was around the Third Great Awakening. It says the Third Great Awakening in the 1850s to 1900s was characterized by new denominations, active missionary work, Chautauquas. I don't know what that is. What is that? Chautauquas. Oh, Christian instruction, preaching, and worship were a big part of the Chautauqua experience. Still don't tell me what it is. Um, the social gospel approach to social issues. Which doesn't sound bad, but again, I think they're going to use it as a way to turn it. So the social gospel is a social movement with Protestantism that aims to supply Christian ethics to social problems, especially to social justice, economic inequality, poverty, alcoholism, crime, racial tension, slums, etc. So again, it doesn't sound bad, but if you put another Messiah at the forefront and start using that as the basis for Christian ethics, then yeah, then we have a problem. Because most people aren't going to know one way or another because they don't read. They don't read their Bible. It's the same way atheists can understand the concept of God, but yet ironically reject God personally, but prop themselves up as the position of God at which they just rejected. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I really just don't know how that thinking works, but people are getting through it. People are using that thought process and moving through life. Yeah, they are. The idea of awakening implies a slumber of passivity, during secular or less religious times. Ugh. Awakening is a term which originates from and is embraced often and primarily by evangelical Christians. In recent times, the idea of awakenings in the United States history has been put forth by conservative American evangelicals. In the late 2010s and 2020s, the Great Awakening has been used by promoters of the QAnon conspiracy theory to denote awareness of their theory. Yeah, so I think they're going to mimic it, but I think it's just going to be an awakening towards the Antichrist and not towards God. Mm-mm. We just have to be vigilant. We just have to be vigilant. Pay attention to what they're doing, what they're saying. Yep, they tried to apply the logos of a book while rejecting the thought process the author of said book had when writing it. Only confusion can result from this. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys watch Ask Cliff or the guy that founded that. But he does a really good thing when he's debating some of these people. He'll ask them what their name is. And let's say, for instance, they say John. And he'd be like, oh, Sam? They'd be like, no, John. He'd be like, David? He'd be like, no, my name is John. And so the point that he does when doing that is that you have to let people, or in this instance, you have to let God tell you who he is and define himself. You can't, because like you said, a lot of people are just kind of just going off of their feelings, thoughts, and they just take whatever they feel and run with it without even reading and acknowledging what God has to say about himself. And so if you call him John and John is defined as, I don't know, I'm so bad with analogies. You got to call God what he says he is. We can't make up our own gods in our mind and then try to live that out as if it's reality. The issue is that they have a belief system that doesn't line up with reality. I mean, well, they can't read, right? That's what I heard. You said most folks are tired haven't read a book since Green Eggs and Ham today. I heard they can't read. They said, matter of fact, in some of these high schools, all they can read is Green Eggs and Ham. So I think the whole "my people perish for a lack of knowledge," shoot, that sounds like I think it sounds like more than just you don't know doctrine. It sounds like you don't have common sense. It sounds like you have a hard time perceiving. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of stuff. I mean, but what do we do about it, though? What do we do? The fourth great awakening is a debated concept that has not received the acceptance of the first three. They said there's such thing as the Jesus movement. Mm. Well, it don't sound bad. It just seems like they're trying to call the Christians back to sound doctrine. But it looks like with this particular awakening is when they started making the foundations of Jesus's music, is what they're calling it, contemporary Christian music, the development of Christian media, as well as the radio and film industry. So again, I think it sounds great, but it seems as though this is a way for infiltration to start happening. Seating ran out with people sitting on the windowsills or on the stage. I guess it's at some of the churches. It was not rare to find them walking the worst parts of lower Broadway, witnessing to prostitutes and addicts. But yeah, so I think this was an easy way, trying to make I guess with this Jesus movement, trying to make everything so mainstream again in the media and all that kind of stuff. And then look what has happened. It went from just evangelizing on the streets and talking to those in need to actually wanting to be in front of people and to be seen. And you want to be praised as, the person bringing the word. Y'all seen it. You've seen these preachers. They just want to be seen. They want to get the glory. They just gave Glorilla a gospel award. They just gave Glorilla a gospel award. And I said, well, what gospel song does she have? Because again, I don't listen to her music. My brother said, oh, well, she's, how they always play that one gospel track at the end of their album. I was like, yeah. He was like, she won it for that. I said, oh, okay. Oh, okay. And that's a shame. It leaves rooms for the Kirk Franklins to come and gyrate in front of everybody. And then it also gives room to be more heavily criticized. Because now you got your sermon on the internet, and everybody sees you, anybody can comment and give their take. It's just a mess. And again, most of these Christian artists, they don't even stay with the gospel that long. They keep coming out saying that that they don't even believe in God after they've been in these Christian bands for X amount of years. They won all these awards, and then all of a sudden they come out, oh, I don't even believe in God anymore. And guess how many people go with you after you have witnessed to millions upon millions of people, and they've given you these awards. And now if you're so famous and you've gotten to your position and you don't believe in God, and you found a reason not to believe in God, well, then I guess I can find a reason not to believe in God either. And that's how that influence spreads. I was telling my brother, I said, Project Pat has a gospel album out. I don't know if y'all know who Project Pat is, but he's a rapper. And he definitely wasn't singing about anything gospel. Rapping about anything gospel when he was doing secular music. And he was like, okay. And my brother was a little weary about it. And I said, you know what's so funny? I said, his gospel album is more biblically sound than the gospel artist. And he was like, what? I'm like, yes. Because I was listening hard to see if he was going to try to slide something in there that wasn't quite, right. And I didn't hear it. I'm not going to say I will never hear it, but I didn't hear it. On the Dead Homies, they gave a ratchet ghetto woman the gospel words. I was so angry. I was crying gasoline from my eyes. I was pissed off. I don't even know what to say. And what's crazy is I think only one person spoke out of all people, Dietrich Haddon. And I know he got some stuff with him, but he spoke out. I'll give him credit for that. And they don't even feel bad about, taking that award, knowing doggone well they shouldn't have it. I haven't found a biblical church in decades. Pastor gay now. What an abomination image. And the congregation listen to gay pastor. They are just as dirty. Yeah, there's a lot. What am I going to say? The gays are speaking a lot lately. I know that sounds weird. They're allowed to speak. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that they are in the pulpit speaking, and they're even giving out relationship advice to heterosexual couples at that, trying to tell us how to conduct ourselves. And you know who's eating this up? The women. I've seen a few men scattered around in these congregations, but the women are eating this up. They like to see a flamboyant man for whatever reason. They love it, love it, love it, love it. They love it so much they're getting to lavender marriages with them. It's a lot going on. Just spitting in the face of God, yeah. But if the gospel community is not going to say anything, I mean, again, I think even I didn't watch it because I'm like, you know what? He just does way too much for my liking these days. But I want to say that Kirk Franklin was trying to justify or defend his dirty winding on stage. And then I saw another pastor talking about, oh, well, being gay is not a sin. And then again, I already told you about the women who are just dressing, they just sexy. They're just sexy in the pulpit. So if the people that are in the forefront that are supposed to know the gospel, that are supposed to be encouraging the church in the gospel, if they're not even going to adhere to it, then that's why the rest of society says, oh, well, all that doesn't really matter. That's why they think marriage don't matter these days. That's why they out sleeping all around. They say marriage doesn't matter. They say it's not a flex to be married. But we gotta blame ourselves, because this is the example that we've set for the world. And I'm gonna say we, because I'm included in that. I'm not perfect. The Christian artists now saying the Christian music industry majority have open. Yeah, I saw that, have open marriages. I'm not laughing for real. It's like one of those laughing to keep from crying. Open marriages and be sleeping with each other's wives and husbands. Yeah, I saw that. I'll be honest, that's why I left my church. When I realized that my pastor had a security team armed because he couldn't leave people's wives alone, I said, okay, I gotta find me somewhere else to go. I gotta find somewhere else. Because how am I going to be following you? And you're supposed to be ministering to me. You're supposed to be ministering to my husband. You're supposed to be ministering to my brother, my dad. You're supposed to be ministering to all of us. But this is what you're doing? I don't think so. Christian rap always made me laugh. They rap about dope. I don't know why that's funny. They rap about dope and guns and then say Jesus wants his Christian rap. Yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous listening to Christian rap, honestly, because it just sounds like you said. It just sounds so much like the secular stuff he's rapping about. Though. Dietrich Haddon was the one who slipped up talking about we sleep with other people. Oh my goodness. I knew it was something. I knew something had happened. I just couldn't remember what with him. And I think, yeah, that's hilarious. Not for real, but because you said he slipped up. Talk about exactly what an abomination. Women encourage gay men a little too much. I know it, and I don't really know what I. I just want to know why is there such a soft spot. And again, y'all, I'm not talking about mistreating anybody. I'm not talking about doing any of that. I'm literally we're just talking about the behavior. Um if a gay person was cold and hungry, I would feed and clothe them just like I would do anybody else. But what is the fascination with flamboyant, effeminate men? I watched a podcast where a woman says she only dates men that have sex with men. See, that's the type of mess I'm talking about. What is that about? And then they complain about catching stuff, or they complain when they see him with the man or whatever. But I just don't understand the logic in that. That's just gross. I'm sorry. That's just gross. Now the word is gone. If you speak out against the church, it attacks you harder than the world. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Because I think they even said they're standing up for I forget what pastor that was that came out and was standing up for Tyler Perry. And it's like, okay, I mean, what do you say? If that's who you want to align yourself with, then okay. What do you, mm, she should get some of that prep you talked about and eat them like Skittles. Maybe, shoot, I guess that's what she thinks is gonna save her. Again, I would want to get into the mindset of a woman that says that. Why? And I know that there's like this thing where they're acting like they're deathly afraid of masculine men. And they throw out these weird numbers. Oh, there's 99%. Uh, they think that 99% of women are being assaulted. They think that 99% of men would rape you if they had the chance. Stuff that honestly most people do not experience. Does it happen a lot, often? I would say so, but I don't think that it happens to a great majority of the population. Um, some of this stuff happens to the same people over and over and over again, sadly. I mean, I don't think it should be spread around, but I also think that it's a lot on one person. So let me Sorry about that. I hope y'all are still here. I don't know what just happened. That was weird. Facts. They be like choke you out in your sleep. If God ain't have a place in heaven for me, then want to end the verse with some random like Reese's Pieces. Jesus. See, this is why I tell y'all be in here clowning. No, but it's because the darkness of in the heart of humans has the instinctual need to do things in reverse. So the reverse of masculine man is a gay and feminine one. They can spiritually resonate with them. That, and I think that there's a big push, even though these particular women are saying that it's equality that they want, when it's really they want to dominate the men. So I think that they want effeminate men because they feel like they can dominate them and boss them around and, and tell them what to do. Whereas regular men, they ain't going for that. They are not going for that. They want to be able to use and abuse you and you not say anything about it. They want to be able to kill off your offspring and you not to shed a tear. They want to just be able to do what they want to do. And I am saying they, as if I'm not a woman, but I'm talking about a particular type of woman. If you aren't doing something gay, I've been told I'm not comfortable in my masculinity. So in order to prove I'm masculine, I have to do something that would prove the opposite. I've heard that logic too. I've heard that logic too. And it's so sad. It's so sad. Because they put that on you. They throw it on you. No, you must be gay. Like they just throw it on you and it's stinky and it sticks to you and you're like, wait, what? How did I get here? I just don't want anyone with the same parts as me. We can't do nothing together. Nope, I think it's the leftovers from mainstream rap, the ones who didn't do but stuff as well as the other rappers to go mainstream. Then they go Christian rap, so they throw a Jesus out here and there. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, people are running away. I'll say that people are running. Like, I don't know. Project Pat, I don't know what made him give his life to Christ. I'm glad that he did. But he's the older brother of Juicy J. Juicy J is in 3-6 Mafia. So even though they claim, it's weird because sometimes they'll claim that they weren't into any Satanism, and then other times they do claim they will admit that they were into Satanism. So he probably saw a lot. And I think even Juicy J said that one time they went to a Hollywood mansion party and he was told that one of the people in the group had to take one for the team. So he probably ran away screaming. He probably did. Oh, and then it says in January on the 10th, his son was fatally shot. So yeah, he's probably looking for something different than what he's been seeing, which is good. But there are some that are running to the gospel world just to wreak havoc. I could never be gay because it's gay to be gay. I went to school in the 90s. If you were gay, that gay was not celebrated. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You're saying Juicy J had his J juice? No. Juicy J said he wasn't going to do that. He was like, nope. Y'all are on your own. I think they said that what's his name? is a dog when you do not. Why am I blanking? Hold on. DJ Paul. I think DJ Paul did. But I would have to go back and listen to the interview to make sure. He said, dang, not Juicy. He used to come to Corpus a lot. Next time I see him, I'm asking who he juiced. No, he said no, he said he was not down. He was not down. Yeah, not him. So, but you never know though. But Tyler, I think that guy's suing him for what, 20 million right now? Or no, that's two different cases. I think the one guy is suing Tyler for a lot more than that. He said Tyler is gay and that he is the one that propositioned Christian Keys. But he's not shocking to me, right? Because he's whatever. You know who is in the news right now, which I'm not surprised about because I talk about all the time, and I think he is a gatekeeper, is Fat Joe. Fat Joe is actually being sued right now. His ex hype man, I think, is coming out saying he's a kitty diddler. I'm not going to say that he did or didn't. I actually have not heard about Fat Joe being with any children, but I do believe that Fat Joe is a gatekeeper. And I believe that he definitely has gotten down with the get down to get doors open for him. Something just does not sit right in my spirit about Fat Joe to me. Just doesn't at all. They say they aren't down. Then they leave the record label owners in the white basketball shorts with the brown stain on the back. What? Really? He said, you remember rumors of Joe diddling in the 2000s? Wow, I did not. Oh, wow. Yeah, I never heard that. I just hear his name way too many times coming up in these gatekeeping circles of hip hop. So I don't want to put that on nobody that's not on, but just something don't sit right with me. Fat Joe was one who talked about there being a gay mafia at the top of hip hop and made the topic more popular in modern conspiracy hip hop talk, which is funny because, again, I specifically remember his name being mentioned when someone said they walked into a room and they were trying to get him to be soft about what he had to do to get put on, pretty much. And when he walked in, Fat Joe was one of the people sitting at the table. So he just flies under the radar way too much for me. You said also, ain't Fat Joe have so much reference for African Bambaataa? Yeah, him. And then who's the one that showed me the song, the 13 and good? Ugh. One of y'all put me onto that. And that was KRS-One, who had a song about, he claimed it was an accident. He accidentally slept with this 13-year-old, but the verse is like, the chorus is, and it was good. Wasn't me. Somebody did. I'm like, somebody did. It might have been in the comment section. Nope, I forgot about that. He sure did talk about the gay mafia. He's a catcher for the team. Yeah, I think so too. But whatever. I just wonder if there's some more exposing that's going to be done. I see that they said that R. Kelly, I guess he supposedly had overdosed or something like that. They might be trying to take him up out of here, especially if Diddy gets close to getting off. Because remember, R. Kelly was one of the ones that said, I ain't the only one. So just imagine if Diddy gets off, it's going to make him hot. He going to sing like a canary. He's going to sing it, sing it, sing it. So they probably have to let him, they probably got to get him up out of here. Who was the fat rapper who said he would never come out or he'd lose money on music sales? Wait, he said he would never personally come out? R. Kelly finna be mad and go start singing. I know, right? No, you beat me to it. Singing like a canary. Yup. That's exactly what he's gonna do. And honestly, I don't even think he was more so talking about Diddy. But in my mind, Jay-Z is not off the hook, but like I said, he was gonna beat these charges. Fat Joe said that right, Cam. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know who else is a fat rapper, so I figure it got to be him. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say he's the only binging out there. I mean, I guess. I guess. I don't know what's gonna happen. Pause. I could have sworn that was in the same topic of the gay mafia when someone asked him why the gay mafia is hiding at the top instead of just coming out. I just wouldn't put it past them. Especially in a time where a lot of things were said and nobody really knew what anybody was talking about, just like with Wendy Williams. She said so much back in the day and we didn't know what she was talking about, so we kind of just let it go and went on about life. Then come to find out right now, everything she said was true. And Joe said because they would lose money, but also this goes back to when I said hip hop was made for gay men. And I mean, I could imagine so. They would lose money. And I know this is kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Besides the fact, because I asked my husband, I was like, why don't you watch the WNBA? He said, because they ball boring. I was like, okay. Okay. And in my mind, I also was thinking, well, I don't think guys or girls really want to watch a bunch of lesbians run up and down the field. Because guys, I mean, y'all like to see some eye candy at least. So if you can't check for her in that kind of way, or because she wouldn't be checking for you, what would be the point? And then if y'all can't really play that well on top of that, you're really not giving anybody any incentive to watch you. And then we started talking about, people like Frank Ocean. And he was like, I like Frank Ocean. I like his music. But then, he had us, he had everybody on the gay train. And you got to let people know if they're going to be on the gay train. I'm like, for real, because it's different when, I don't know, it's just different when you're singing to a whole man. Or even with like Kalani and them, like you singing to a whole female. Like at some point, I can't sing along with you. I can't relate to what you're talking about. The gay mafia and 50 Cent is the organizer. I don't know. 50 is funny. I don't know. No's video on hip hop had me dying. No, it was good. They ball boring is low key accurate and hilarious. No, he was for real. He said it just like that too. They ball boring. The NBA players have been asking to get paid as much as the NBA players. Exactly, but they don't for some strange reason they don't even understand why, they're not. And I in my mind, because I do not watch women's basketball. I'll watch men's basketball. I do not watch women's basketball, but I'll watch women in other sports. Again, I love track and field. I'll watch some gymnastics. I might even take a gander at some swimming every now and then. But I don't know. It's just something about basketball. I just don't want to see it. You said volleyball is the sport to watch as a heterosexual male. I could see y'all thinking that. I didn't understand this until high school. Afterwards, I never forgot. Yeah. You said, yeah, one of my older military hyper masculine friends was singing one of his songs, and I told him Frank was gay, and he was so ashamed and embarrassed. He just said silently, dang, sorry for the length. Yeah, it's just different. It's just different. It's just different. And just like, I mean, I can barely even listen to half of Cardi B songs or even Meg Thee Stallion stuff. I feel like he's trying to rope me in there. No. Like y'all claim to like men, but y'all always kissing and sucking on each other. So if that's what your music is gonna make me do, I'm not gonna listen. I don't think I've ever watched the WNBA. I bet it's all butch women with full arm sleeve tats. I mean, definitely the butch women part, even to the point where they were bullying their straight female teammates. Like they will not even, if these women want to take a break to have children and stuff like that, they pretty much get shunned and almost booted out. There was a lot of, I think, Allison Felix, she's a track star, former track runner. And I know she had to work to fight for women to be able to have children without being ostracized. And that's a shame. Like they want you to abandon every essence that you are for this alternative lifestyle. And that's not even just alternative as in, rainbow stuff. It just means they do not want you to act in accordance to the image in which you were made. There's some ratchet female music artists. Oh, there definitely is. And they're coming out heavier and heavier and heavier now, especially because prostitution is pretty much being legalized right before our eyes. The prostitutes are masquerading as female artists. You said, damn, I've been singing this nigga songs and he gay. Yes, pretty much. They talk about mothers today like it's a disease to avoid. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's pretty disgusting. And if it was just a sentiment of, oh, you just don't want to have children and thing, I wouldn't think anything of it. But when you're going to the point of, no, kill them all off, kill the babies off, that's some weirdo stuff. And not wanting to call mothers and stuff is all weirdo stuff. I've heard the straight women have to fight off their lesbian teammates who try and flip them in the WNBA. And that's sad. That is so sad. Like, you don't know who to trust. You be end up in a players club situation. Mm-mm. That's so sad. Why are why are they trying to be more masculine than Hulk Hogan though? It's just part of the agenda. Is all I can think of. You weaken the men, put the women in the forefront. Because all I can think of is that most women are going to be like Eve. And I think they bank on that most women are going to be like Eve. So if we put her at the forefront, then she's going to help the rest of society um, turn towards the serpent and look towards the serpent. See, they bypassed binding the strong man, because remember how the Bible says that if you're going to go into a man's house and steal his goods, you first got to bind him. They've bypassed the binding the strong man. Now they're using the women to do it. They're using women to bankrupt the men, bankrupt of their money. They'll get married to these men, divorce them in little and no time, get their house, get half their pension, their retirement. They try to go after gifts that their family leaves. If your family leaves you an inheritance, they try to get that as well. Again, they'll kill off your babies. They turn your son's gay, your daughter's gay. They're using the women to do all this. They're using women to disparage marriage. Oh, marriage ain't, like I said, marriage ain't a flex is what they're saying. Everybody don't want to get married. But yeah, you still sleeping around having babies. But you don't want these men. Okay. I'm just so shocked by the amount of videos that I watch and the foolishness that comes out of women's mouth and how they encourage other women to do the same. It's just there's more abortions yearly than small countries' populations. I know it. It's the nastiest thing. It's the nastiest thing in the world. And then for them to look you dead in your face or type you on the screen and tell you that you don't know about biology. Ain't that something? They don't even know it's a whole human being in the womb, or they claim that they don't know, but you want to tell me that I don't know about biology. Spend the night with one of those masculine women and says it's clobbering time when y'all hit the bedroom. Listen. Oh, I don't even know what to say. There's so many vile things today. Yeah, there definitely is. And there definitely is. It's part of the Logos programming of the spirit of Lucifer. Most women will go off sensuality rather than morality. Yep. It's easier to lure the women out instead of fighting the man. Exactly. And I'm sorry that is, because I don't want to sound like I'm good, like I just hate women, right? I'm a woman. I love being a woman. But I'm just looking out and I'm seeing stuff that I'm like, ooh, that should not be there. Like I remember having a conversation with my mom before I went to college, and I absolutely have no reason why I was having this conversation, but I remember telling my mom, like, if I get pregnant and I'm having the baby. And my mom, she said, okay. Not like, okay, like clap, clap, clap for me, but just she understood me. She understood, like, okay, yeah, I'd never been of the mindset that it was an option to get rid of the baby like that. That's why I advocate marriage through church, not state. Oh, me too. Me too. I will never, ever sign a marriage certificate. Never, ever. And that's no shade. But once I realized what they were doing in the fine print, I said, okay, no, thank you. No, thank you. Exactly, Epiphany. They are creating sleeper agents within women. It's MK Ultra on steroids. So women think right is wrong and wrong is right. Then the weak men join in because they automatically win. Yeah. And and I'm glad you mentioned the MK Ultra. There's absolutely no way of us knowing if any of these people are MK Ultra victims. These ones that are super, super sex kitten like, we have no idea, no way of knowing if they are infiltrating. Because that's what it looks like to me. It's exactly what it looks like to me. Every time I see the video and they're getting on, they're claiming that they're giving these women all this advice on how to divorce their husbands or how to take money from these men. And every time I hear the videos like that, I'm like, dang, somebody is using you to put this message out here, to speak to women who are like-minded like you, so you can encourage them and hype them up so they can go out and do the same thing. Somebody's doing it. Or is it just that they're so far gone? I don't know. Most people don't know how an abortion is done. Show them a video. It sways a lot of people quick to the other side. You can't make excuses when you see the process. And maybe that's what and I see that more and more that's happening. Yeah, I remember science class in college, and one of the first things that my teacher did was pass around pictures of an abortion. And that was the first time that I have ever had a teacher do anything like that. Matter of fact, I don't even know if it's something that we really talked about in class, in science class at that. But yeah, she passed those pictures around. And one picture in particular, these forceps, the forceps had already entered into the womb. They were about to stab the baby in the head, and the baby was gripping the forceps. Like, do not, like as if to stop the instrument from cracking its skull. Yeah, that hit hard. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people that don't know, or they claim not to know what happens. And I think I'm trying to think of what channel has been showing videos to men and women, and they have been changing their minds. They're like, I did not even know. It might be Abolitionist Rising channel, but I'm not sure. But yeah, a lot more needs to be done. No's comment should be in the descriptor sentences for the definition of why do women whore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I may be a psychopath. All the things most people want in life, I find disgusting. Interesting. I don't even know what to say about that. That sounds interesting. I love women. That's why I'm saying that. If I hated women, I'd encourage all of this foolery, easy access to sex. Shorty might abort, so there's zero consequences, no responsibilities. Real love equals accountability. Yeah, it does. Um, but most people don't know that either, right? Most people don't know that there's a whole definition for love. It's not just this fleeting emotion. There's a way to identify what love is. And lying to people and all that stuff is not, it's not it. But I don't know, y'all. But one thing's for sure is that they are absolutely preying on those who are not secure in their beliefs. And they're willing to strip you of everything that you think you know so that they can indoctrinate you. I don't know. I went down the MK Ultra Black Project's mind control rabbit hole in the past because I used to live near Fort Hood, and there's rumors of projects that's why so many go missing there. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's almost like, where are they? I don't know. Are they snatching people off the streets or what? People are stupid. The same people who cheer science and evolution don't think a human and a human make a baby. Yeah, a baby human apparently is just cells. Yeah, it's so stupid. And we ourselves, we're all cells. A matter of fact, our cellular makeup is so complex. I had the pleasure of meeting this astrophysicist. I want to say his name is Russell Humphreys. They have a Bible-based organization out here. They used to meet at the gyms, and then they're meeting somewhere else now. But anyways, so a lot of scientists come through there, and he was speaking about the fact that there are 10 million chemical reactions that are happening all day long. All day long. And if just one of those chemical reactions fails, we die. Yet they'll tell us that we came about by small, gradual process. So then how do you get to a point where there's 10 million chemical reactions that need to occur? If we came about by small, gradual processes. So you think this World War III gonna pop off? I don't know. I don't know. Because is this the wars or is this the rumor of wars? And I don't know I thought when they described what World War III would be, I don't think it was this. But people are saying it. I mean, has he come out his mouth and said this is going to be World War III? I don't know. I got to look into it more. I try not to Worry about it. I still can't believe these women off their own children and champion it. It's really disgusting. And it's disgusting the amount of women. The amount of women is scary, and they say it so nonchalantly. Oh, just get rid of it. It just rolls off their tongue so lightly, and it you would think that they're saying lovely things, but no. But no. Mm-mm. Like if you could, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, he said I was about to ask the same. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't follow politics as closely as I probably should, because in my mind, I'm like, I can't do nothing about it anyway. If we were on the brink of war, what could I do? Um, but yeah, I don't know if this is wars or rumors of wars. Because are they going to just let us do this and then brush it off? I don't know. I don't have an answer. America has like 1 year left before the 250-year mark that no society has went past without completely falling like Rome. Really? Is that what's going on right now? That sounds scary. I mean, it's not going to completely fall within a year. I definitely don't believe that. But that's a weird thing though. No. In the early 2000s, they were finding bodies in the local river and fields in Colleen. They reported for a week all these bodies had a 12 millimeter hole in the neck. Then they stopped reporting it. Oh my goodness. So what did they think it? What? Mm. And I don't live that far from Austin, and they feel like they have a serial killer out in Austin, but I don't think they're finding anything weird like that. They're just finding bodies in the river. Like every week, they're finding a new body in the river. It's weird. But no, a 12 millimeter hole, and they just stopped reporting on it. I wonder what they thought it. I wonder what they thought it was. Yeah, I wonder what they thought it was. Because why would you stop reporting on it? I think we're getting close. Things are getting set up. Yeah, they're definitely getting set up. Um, but I just kind of just try to think about the Revelation timeline. I feel like we're still off of some things, unless it happens real fast, which is which could happen. Iran talking tough, like they finna spin the block for a dead homie. I think it's just wars and rumors of wars. Yeah, it might just be. Um, yeah, hopefully. Trump just bragged about bombing Iran. Note we're Israel's puppets, so we'll definitely be involved heavily if things get worse. Yeah. Just want to find out if for accurate info on wars around the world, Scott Ritter and Colonel McGregor are good. Okay, I'll have to check them out. The rumors around the city where it was a military project looking into a deal to force people into a stasis state. If you do a simple Google search, hundreds of soldiers and people have gone missing or killed around Fort Hood and Killeen. Hmm. I'm like looking it up right now, and they're definitely not showing anything. And you said this was a while ago. Yeah, that's crazy. If you do, oh yeah, sorry, I just read that. They say that Fort Hood is the place soldiers go to die, literally. I mean, I just always remember there are strange things surrounding it, but I don't think it. Actually, I don't think I heard about Fort Hood until that one guy did the massacre there, and he was shooting all those people. Yeah, you know it's crazy. I looked at it. It's not. I'll have to really search for it because it's definitely not popping up. It's just crazy that they just really use us for experiments and stuff. Whatever they want, they just grab, they just snatch people up. It's just crazy. You were at the base that. Oh, you were at the base that day that the massacre happened. Whoa. Yeah, I just remember hearing about that. I don't even know if I was in. I don't even know if I was in Texas at the time. I might have been away at school. I can't remember what year that was. Mm. Um, I was trying to see if this particular article that I was looking at, uh, but it's not. No, I'm trying to look for these for the 12 millimeter. There, yeah, it's definitely not popping up readily. So I have to do some digging. Let's see. There was a famous case of a Hispanic girl going missing off the base, and her family uncovered a lot of military corruption. Um, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Um, yeah, this is like a lot of weird stuff. I guess what I'm thinking is it almost doesn't seem safe for women to be in that type of environment. Yeah, I'll find her name because I do remember that. You said, yeah, I just left the food court and was at a shop when it happened. Oh, that's so scary. And he might have been a Manchurian candidate because did they ever find out why he did it? Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. NBA finals are rigged and trash. Anywho, yeah, I've seen a few weird stuff about the NBA being rigged and having magnets in the ball and all kinds of stuff. Robots actually playing, like some of the players are robots. I've seen some weird footage about that. But it's all entertainment. It's all entertainment. They just taking everybody money. The shooter's family made some wild accusations. I can't remember the name, but it went national. As kids, we knew to stay away from the base. I got buddies that went army and they tell crazy stories of stuff going on the base. I'm just thankful that we never were stationed there then. I'm glad about that. Oh, the shooter's family claimed he was controlled. I mean, it sounds like it. Because you open fire on a base, most of everybody's going to have weapons. You know you're going to get some type of court martial or whatever have you. And I heard that that's the worst. Going through that is the worst in the military. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. He said, this gonna sound crazy, but it's not. It is not word that the missing women that be in the military or Navy are always attractive. There hasn't been an ugly missing woman who is in the military, Navy, etc. Like I said, you never know. They could be building Frankensteins out of people. You never know. I don't watch any sports anymore. I see too much masonry in it all. I mean, look at the baseball fields as the square and the compass, and a good documentary on is a baseball and Freemasonry, the history of baseball. Dang, they got baseball too? Mm, I didn't know that. His friends and family swore he was off in the week before. They said he was like an empty vessel. Oh. Mm-mm. I'm so sad. Nazim said exactly. Nope. Said no hunch. Back chicks are getting swiped. uh, and that's not good. I mean, it's not good for anybody to be getting swiped, but dang. They said in 2009. Okay, sorry. In 2009, resulted in 13 fatalities and over 30 injuries. In 2020, it also had a high number of deaths. They had 7 homicides, 7 suicides, and several accidents. I think the girl's name was Vanessa Gilliam, was that one soldier. That's the first girl I heard about something happening to her. Yeah, it looks like a lot goes on at Fort Hood for sure. Mm-hmm. He said, "Oh yeah, baseball is super Masonic. The bases and spaces in between them all tell a story. A baseball field upside is the square and compass." I see it now that you mentioned it, but I guess I never would have paid attention. Wow. He said, "Listen, I'm just making an observation." I mean, yeah, Sarah family really fought for her. Mm, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I'll look that up then. I didn't know. But yeah, NFL and NBA legally funnel money that affects taxpayers' money and city funding on the large level. The NBA or NFL final championship team city can benefit financially for 300 million to 3 billion. Oh, I believe it. Oh yeah. These people buy season tickets or they just buy tickets for every game, paraphernalia, hats, shirts, shoes, everything. I can imagine. Mm-mm. Y'all think the NFL and NBA is leaving that much amount of money on chance or good sportsmanship? Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think there's been people that have admitted, especially the mob always has ties in it. Not only do they always have ties in the music industry, but they have a lot of sports betting. I think boxing is a big one where they're always um, betting, and they're definitely on it. Sports are all fake. It's all about rating and advertising. Yeah. I think the only, I'm not going to say only, but I think track is still legit. I don't really watch swimming that much, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to tell because you're like you said it's all rigged. They could definitely be rigging everything, but mm-mm. So a city's funding from a federal level can be affected by these numbers. Yeah. Yeah. It's all a game. All a game. Wait, what? I knew sports was fake when they added that Asian character. I've never seen an Asian play sport. What? Again, I'm very heavy on track. I ain't gonna lie. Japan and China, they they run. They keep up. It's usually, if it's not America and Jamaica, it's usually like America, Jamaica 1 and 2, but it's usually an Asian team third. So I don't know. A city funding could directly affect politics, so it would be crazy to think NBA and NFL aren't fake. Yeah. But so many, I'm not gonna say so many of them, but a few of them have even come out and said it's fake as well. So yeah. Yeah. You say you talking about that dude from the Grizzlies and they got him over 6 feet tall. Mm-mm. Yeah, that's why they get paid so much. That's why they get paid so much. Yeah, I mean, like I'm just picturing it. They know what to do. They know how to bring the crowd in. They know what's going to keep them watching. Yeah, like you said, a lot of the famous players, yep, are Masons. Yep, yep. Like I'll just never get over seeing the video of them looking like most of the players were robotic. Like their ankle would turn to the side like in a weird way where the normal person would not be able to even walk after that, but they get up, start running. Mm-mm. Elson, sir, how are you doing this evening? I hope all is well. You said, and also why the NBA players all zesty and do a whole fashion designer walk, always wearing something gay like Westbrook. Look up his NBA fashion outfits. Yeah, I've seen him. I thought he was a weird one. I thought he was a weird one. But they get bought out. They get bought to do these things. To Because at the same time, right? At the same time, for whatever reason, them gays be having money. They be making bank at whatever it is that they do. Off topic, I saw a fatal shooting by police on YouTube yesterday. The guy asked the police if they were a Mason. He said his lodge info and then said they couldn't arrest him, but he ended up getting shot. Wait, what? Wait, so the guy that got shot was a Mason. He got shot and killed. And he was trying to see if the cops were Masons so that he could try to get out of it. And they shot him anyway. They're a big gang. They're a big gang. That's all it is. And there's some good ones. I ain't gonna say there's not, but or dude from the NBA doing his pre-game ritual with his speared fingers and crap. You talking about LeBron? The guy that got killed was a Mason and was asking the police if they were Masons. They ended up shooting him anyways. He gave his lodge info. That's crazy. That's why I say they'll turn on their own. They'll turn on their own. They don't care. Ruthless. The police is the biggest gang in the nation. Yeah. Yep. Or one of them. I know I heard someone say that Congress was the biggest gang too. They all are. They're all in it together. The thing about police though, they're armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we know Angel does. Yeah, they have a badge and authority to push us around. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna share that one link to the civil rights lawyer, and plus, just in case anybody might need a civil rights lawyer, he's got good contacts. Oh, you know what? I was gonna bring her up the other day. Michelle Lammy, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah. Weirdo. She's a weirdo. And guess who hooked up with her? JT from the City Girls. They said that she disappeared, and when she came back, she was just a new person. JT was. And she had been, I guess, locked up with them doing God knows what type of rituals. She looks like a demon. If y'all don't know who this is, y'all have to look her up. Her name is Michelle Lammy. She's a French culture and fashion figure, a clothing designer. She looks like a satanic witch, a decrepit satanic witch. Yeah, and I'm thinking that she might be, I don't know if she's a type of a gatekeeper that they have to go through in order to, get to the next level, but it sure seemed like it. But anyways, what were your thoughts about her? Yeah, what were your thoughts about her? Police out here getting military hardware from the government, and we stand no chance when they have mortar-proof vehicles. Yeah, they're pretty much getting equipped with everything that they need to have. The license plate scanners, they're going to have the GPSs where I believe that our insurance companies are supposed to be reporting to them. So all of our whereabouts, where we're going, where we're coming, all that, they're going to be able to have that intact. Like I said, they already got guns. Yeah, it's just, but they don't work for us. They work for the state. I did. Nope, I did. Because that's my jam. Notorious Thugs. And I did just start rapping that. Cardi B too, and Travis Scott. A lot of celebrities been with her. Oh, okay. Makes sense. She just looks creepy. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her, to be honest. She practiced boxing for 35 years, so she can put hands on you too? Witchcraft and hands, huh? Okay. Mm-mm. You said clone. That might be well too. She might be too. She might very well be a clone. Wait a minute. I'm reading too far down too soon. Everyone should look into the 1033 program. All the police are now militarized. We have so few rights left. If something ever kicked off, it would be a hard fight. They're stocked up. Yeah. Which is why, in the least, cannot let them take the guns. Because once that happens, we get Anne Franked. Okay, so the 1033 program, also known as LESO, LESO, allows the Secretary of Defense to transfer surplus Department of Defense equipment to eligible state and local law enforcement agencies at no cost. Oh, goodness. Aside from shipping. Hold on. The program established by the National Defense Authorization Act for 1990 to 1991. It says handles excess military property for use by law enforcement agencies, but prohibits transfer of military uniforms, body armor, Kevlar helmets, and other items. Okay, why would that matter? Yep. It gives them unparalleled access to a variety of military equipment for discretionary use. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh my. Travis Scott looked butt naked on the floor with the pillow on his crotch with her in the back of the room. What? I don't be knowing what I'm reading sometimes. Oh gosh. Oh, I see it. What is going on? Yeah, she looks dead. Yeah, that's weird. Mortal proof D's. Yeah. Apparently she lost the fight with her demons. Yeah, apparently that's so sad. She was with she is with Lil Uzi Vert. So she can't be that far away from demons, right? She right there with him. I've lived in small cities where police stations have military hardware. And that's the thing. See, and that's the thing. Small cities, they try to start there and then it will infiltrate to the bigger cities, or they'll just come through the corrupt cities like places in New York, California. Every nation that ever gave up its arms was taken over by a tyrannical force. Exactly. And so although I know that gun reform is needed because mofos just out here just shooting people, no rhyme or reason, but at the same time, we need them to protect against the bigger gangs. It's still active. Basically, any law enforcement agency can get military gear like armored cars, trucks, guns, etc. They pay nothing but shipping. They just have to ask. They sure don't get denied ever. It got to be, because out here they barely even drive the police cars anymore. They're in nice stuff. Nice stuff. They give them Chargers and Escalades and all kinds of stuff to ride around in. Travis Scott is basically Harry Potter incarnate. He said, I thought Lil Uzi Vert was gay as F. I mean, if he is, I mean, I ain't never seen him with no man. And he been with old girl for a cool minute. Have y'all seen this? Oh, goodness gracious. Hold on. I'll have to post that on the post. This is some scary stuff. This Michelle lady. Okay, let me get off of that. I have to go to bed soon. Be thinking about her in my dreams. She probably she probably would turn Lil Uzi into Lil Uzi demon he is now. That, or they just get people that worship the same things they worship. You know? I don't know. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, they got charges and Tahoes here. Yeah, they ride around in nice stuff. Yes, the cops. Why I can't find an Explorer that ain't dogged out. Mm. I went to a city council meeting when my town spent $6 million on cars, and it's a small farm town. I took them stick to $2,000 Lincoln. Oh, I told them stick to the $2,000 Lincolns. Yeah, spending money on needless things. You know, you got brand new cars to ride around and harass people in, but yet you got all these hungry people on the street. But I guess they said that's not their responsibility. Even though they want to be a parent, they want to be the parent state to everybody, but the homeless and the hungry are not their responsibility. Makes me sick. Now I want to be a cop just for solid transportation. You know? Dallas does police auctions where you can buy basically brand new cars for pennies on the dollars thanks to civic asset forfeiture. Yeah. And I think that's another way that they target people as well. Because let you have some loose cash on you, or like you said, a car that they want, they will find a way to charge you for whatever, lock your butt up, take your things. It's just not right what they're allowed to do. I remember when I first learned about eminent domain, and I was like, what in the world? The government can just take my house, my property, if they feel like they need the space, and it's legalized. I don't know. It was just, I think I started learning in school while I was majoring that the stuff was corrupt, and by then it was too late. You got to get one of the helicopters from the 1033. That's the most illegal thing they do. There's no court ruling. They just take your stuff. Yeah, just take it. Not allowed to travel with a certain amount of money on you, or they just take it. Police should be stripped of implied immunity too. Yeah, but I want to say, didn't they just pass something to make it stronger? They're definitely not giving that up. But I've been hearing about quite a few places where the jury have turned the verdicts over onto the police, like when the police are corrupt, pretty much doing outlandish things, thinking they're going to get away with it. The jury has turned the verdict over on them and locked them up. But people have said, if when they get sued for these millions of dollars, $1,000, whatever it is, if it started coming out of their pocket, out of their pension, out of their retirement, then a lot of the stuff would stop. But they're emboldened to do it. And then they still get money on top of it. So why would they stop? Like if you're just this barbarian and you act that way, you can just go get into the police academy and you get to act out your wildest fantasies while getting paid. Exactly. Yep. Spend years and thousands to get your money back. Yep. Yeah, she did. No. That Colombian woman acted on eminent domain when she stole that man's organs. Yeah. Can't believe it. Most of the time they get sent home on paid leave. So basically vacation. Yeah. Until they feel like things have died down and gotten quiet and, nobody's really thinking about it anymore, then they go right back. Or they'll fire them, let the person resign, and then that person can just go apply at another department in a different city and do the same thing over and over again. But they put a police call in the news here recently. Some chick called 911 because someone stole her weed. Oh my gosh, they be so stupid. Mm-mm. Yeah, they do. Sorry to say, they move cops around like the Catholic priest caught with Shirley. Yeah, they do. Yep. But that's our corrupt system for you. That's our corrupt system. Well, anyways, ladies and gents, I'm going to go ahead and get up off of here. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation as always. New video should be dropping here soon. And I pray that you like it. Of course, I'm going to put the uncut on the Patreon because there's some receipts that you got to hear and see. And they're not going to let me drop it for you on YouTube. They're going to strike it as soon as I drop it. But I'm going to try to do my best to jam pack it for YouTube so that you can get the whole gist. But just know that the uncut is going to be on the Patreon. Other than that, we'll read the last comment. He said, I used to wonder why popes carried suckers. I'm not even going to touch that. I'm not even going to touch that. But yes, you all, I hope you have a good night and we will speak very, very soon. Okay, let me get off of here. Go work on the rest of this video. Talk to y'all later.